Welcome, Computerland, to the monthly meeting of the Utah Valley Technology and Genealogy Group. Today is the 10th of February, 2024, and we are pleased to welcome members of the group to via Zoom and anyone else who is interested in the subject of genealogy and family history via our Facebook Live page. That's the UV Tag Facebook Live page. I have a comment about membership. Uh, if you are a member and have not renewed your membership recently, you may have expired the end of December last year, and you will no longer receive our monthly newsletter, Tagology, unless you rejoin the group. The last page of the newsletter can be printed and mailed in with a check for the $15 annual fee for the calendar year membership, or you can use the login page at uvtagg.org to pay via PayPal. If you would like to help us provide services or receive a sample copy of a recent newsletter, please email us at uvtaginfo@gmail.com. We are currently starting the annual election process for officers of the group. Nominations may be emailed by members of the group to uvtaginfo@gmail.com until the 7th of March. So you have 4 weeks to do that. We are very pleased. Well, let's first say, if you would like to make comments during the class or ask questions on Zoom, we ask that you use the chat feature to ask questions or make comments. Unless we're in a question and answer period where we would invite you to unmute your microphone and tell us who you are and ask your question. If you want to turn on your video at that time, we welcome seeing you also. If you're on Facebook watching us live, please use the comments section underneath the video to make your comments. In the chat and also in the comments, you will shortly see the class outline that Don has prepared for this class. Donald R. Snow is our presenter today, and he'll be, I should tell you just a little bit about him. He claims to be a Californian by birth, but he's been living most of his life here in Utah, in the Provo or St. George area. He's a retired professor from mathematics from BYU, or Brigham Young University in Provo, and has lived in several foreign countries for both mathematics and church assignments. After retiring from the BYU math faculty, he and his now deceased wife, Diane, served 4 family history missions for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, including being directors of the New York Family History Center in Manhattan, in the Illinois Nauvoo mission working on a family history project, and in the London, England Family History Center. Don served 2 terms on the board of directors of the Utah Genealogical Association, was the host of their online virtual chapter meetings for several years. He has been a VP of the Utah Valley Technology and Genealogy Group, UVTAG, since the early 1990s when the group started. He's a frequent speaker at family history venues and loves teaching and playing his accordion. The title of his presentation today is Getting Started with Free AI for Texts, as you can see on the screen. Artificial intelligence is helpful in many ways, he says, including in family history. Once you get started, it's easy to use. This presentation will help you get started with some of the major free AI websites and learn how to use them for texts. Examples will illustrate this and give you ideas to use it. The notes have the links to it you use to access them online. You can just click and go to the website. The websites he'll discuss are Microsoft's Copilot, Google's Bard, OpenAI's ChatGPT, and Summarize.tech, which is a website that will give you a text summary of any closed-captioned YouTube video. The notes and other related information, all with active internet links, are on the handout. Don, we're looking forward to getting some more details after our first presentation on AI that gave us a real exciting taste for what we can do to enhance our own family history with AI.
All right. Thank you, Gerhard. We appreciate that. That's Gerhard Roof that was just talking to us. He's the president of our organization, and he's the technical guru that we couldn't do all this stuff without him. There's just no question about that.
I forgot something.
What?
We always begin with an opening prayer, and Marilyn is going to do that.
Oh, we need a prayer.
Please go ahead and then start, Don.
Okay. I was saying a prayer the whole time you were talking, so we did. We already started with my prayer, right? I'll go ahead. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we are so grateful to be a part of your work and to be able to learn and grow as we serve thee and also those around us. And we are grateful for the service of many people who help to do this work. And we're grateful for Don's willingness and Gerhard and the many others that have taught each other to be able to come together and understand these tools that are being provided to help us. At this time, dear Father, we ask thy spirit be with Don as he teaches, that his mind will be alert and he will be able to explain and to be able to manipulate and be able to present what he knows that thou would have him do. We also ask a blessing upon those listening, that their minds will also be enlightened and that they can comprehend how they can use these tools to accomplish this great work. Father, we are grateful to thee and for thy Savior and for his atoning power. We say these things now in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Marilyn. We appreciate that. And we do need a prayer, at least I do, for sure. Wonderful. Well, welcome all you folks. We're delighted to have you with us. We're talking about AI, which is artificial intelligence. Most of you are aware of that terminology, AI, now, because it occurs so often now. It's been in the news in the last little while, but mainly with problems. And there are problems with it, which we'll talk about some cautions and problems later. But it's got such beneficial help. It's like any technology, that it can be helpful or it can be used for nefarious purposes. As Gerhard mentioned, there's the notes, which we'll get to in just a second. So you don't need to take careful notes here, but if you do see something that's of interest, jot down the number of where we are or of something about it. I'll show you the notes here in just a second. But this is the stuff we're going to be talking about today. We're only discussing free AI. The commercial versions, which cost money, are usually give you better results. They don't always, but they sometimes do. but there's enough free stuff that to get started, just use the free stuff. Now, I did one of my regular weekday classes on this about 2 weeks ago. And so this is an expanded version of that. Many of you are aware that I do teach a class during the week, during the month. And the next one will be in about 2 weeks. It won't be on AI at all, it'll be on something else. But the notes and so on are on my website. We're going to be talking about what AI is. It's artificial intelligence, but it's neither artificial nor is it intelligent. And so that's a misnomer, but you'll see on the notes what the discussion is. We're going to talk about the free AI websites that Gerhard mentioned. There's a total of 4 of them that we'll discuss today. There's probably 100 free AI websites, but I'm just dealing with 3 of the major ones plus that one on summarized the YouTube videos. We're going to show how to use them, and once you see how to use them, they're easy to get into. You have to, the hard part is getting started. And if you're like me, I have to see how to get into it to start. If I see that first, then I can get into it and I can figure it out from there. But until I see it and learn the basics of it, I need to see it, to see somebody do it. And that's what this is designed to do, to help you get started. We're going to talk about some cautions and some suggestions here, as well as things. And a lot of the class will be on demos itself. Now, the class notes are on my website. That's my website there. It's UVTAGG. And you heard Gerhard a minute ago talk about Utah Valley Technology and Genealogy Group. .org. We're a nonprofit organization. And then classes/classes/dawns, and then dawns-classes .html gets you to my webpage, and we'll show that here in just a second. On that page are the notes and the links, and there's even a way to get to where the videos are stored. This is being recorded, and it'll be on, Gerhard posts them on Facebook, but only for a couple of 3 months. But they're put onto our website, our UVTAG YouTube channel, and they stay there, so you can watch them later. And so eventually there'll be a link that you can just click to get directly to those. Now, having said that, let me show you. Let me change the shift here and actually show you what the notes are. Now, for me, let's see if I do an Alt Tab. I can get to the notes, which are here. Now, this is that what that link that you saw before, and that Gerhard will send you a link to. This is my class notes page, and I update this on a regular basis. So it lists several pages here at the start. There are different things that are related to other stuff that I do, as well as there's the links to watch on Zoom for the classes, and on Facebook. And then here's classes coming up, and item number 1 there is today's class. I'll click on those notes here in just a second. That will show you those notes status today. There's the class that I'm going to be doing in a couple of weeks, and then other classes later on, and then past classes, and the notes are listed down here. And this goes on down to 300 or 400 classes that are past there that we've had in the past. Okay, so that's the class notes page. Now, if I get right here to classes coming up, if I click right on that one, these are the class notes for today's class. Getting started with free AI. And I added 4 texts in here because I'm not dealing with videos, nor with images, nor music, or anything like that. The stuff that's been in the news in the last little while with the problem areas deals with videos. And but we're not talking about that. We're only talking about text today. Now, I don't know whether you can read that. It's fairly small, but there's an abstract at the top of the notes there, which is about the class today. let me just point out a few things that are in there, and then we'll look further down at the notes here. AI is artificial intelligence. It's helpful in lots of different ways. There's lots of different things. And since I've gotten started with this, about a month or 6 or 8 weeks ago, I've just had a lot of fun with it, and a lot of good things have come from it. And I'll give you some ideas later on from it, not just with family history, but with a lot of other things. There are free versions, and they're websites. There are most of these that, in fact, all these that we'll be talking about today are just websites themselves, and so you can get to them with any browser. There are apps that you can download if you want to download an app. App is short for application, on a smartphone or a tablet or something of that nature, that will get you to the same place. But what we're dealing with here are just websites, and so you can use them on any browser. Doesn't have to be, for example, the Microsoft, they have a browser called Edge, but you don't need to use Edge to get to the Microsoft's program, which is called Copilot, that's the name of their website that does the AI. You can get to it from, I would be using Chrome. This is Chrome that you're looking at here with and we'll use Chrome for all the stuff we do today. There are various things you can do with it once you get into the website, but you normally have to set up an account. Now, if you have a Gmail account, you already have a Google account. So if you want to use Google's Bard, B-A-R-D, that's what they call theirs, you can do that without, you don't need another account. You need to get your password for whatever that was when you set up your Google account. But that will do for that. If you use Microsoft Windows, if you're using a Windows computer, you've got a Microsoft account. But finding your old password may be a problem for you. But once you have it, then you're all set. And ChatGPT, which we'll talk about, that's from OpenAI. That's the company that owns that, which Microsoft owns a good share of OpenAI. You have to set up an account, but the accounts are free, and so there's no charge for the accounts themselves. There are others, like I mentioned, there's probably at least 100, and I'll show you some of the others later, but we won't deal with those here. But in each case, you need to set up an account to get to it. Once you get that account set up, you're all set then to click and put I just put an icon at the top of my bookmarks bar, so I can click to get into it, and it already has my password built in, or the password and so on. All right, now down here in the notes, here's the welcome and the introduction, and there's my email address if you want to write me. If you're watching this, today is the 10th of February of 2024, as Gerhard mentioned, but if you're watching this 6 months from now and you got a question, I'll be glad to try and answer it. That's my email address on there. There's a couple of, on item 2 there is a couple of notes about free things, ways to do particular things that are helpful, that some of them are not well known. For example, if you're in these notes and you want to get to one of the links, hold down the control key while you click on that link, and it will open the link in a new tab, so you won't change your location as to where you are in these notes. And so that's really helpful on a lot of occasions. Like if you do a Google search for something, hold down the control key before you click on the link, and then you're right where you were back in the same thing without having to scroll back down and use the back arrow and all that sort of thing. That's one of the tips that's on there on that item too. The other one is that if you want to put an icon on the top, and that's what I've done, just drag the icon from in front of the address box where your address is in your browser. And I think this works on most browsers. I know it does on Chrome and several others. I'm not sure about all browsers, but a good share of them. Just drag that icon from in front down to your bookmarks bar or right off onto your desktop, and you'll have a link that will take you directly to that item. And if you do it after you've typed in your password, for example, if you want use Family Search. Once you get into Family Search using your password, drag that bar off and it will have your password built in so you don't have to type your password in every time. I found that really helpful. Item 4 here is the problem that we're going to discuss today, which is what we've already talked about, that we're looking at some free AI websites and what you can do with it and how you can do with it. Now, here's some stuff about what AI is. First of all, that it's not artificial and it's not intelligent. All it is computer assisted searching. And so once you get into AI, it's just a computer way of using stuff that's already on the internet to help you find other stuff that you might be interested in. We've been using AI for years, but we didn't call it that until a couple of years ago when ChatGPT came out. And then everybody picked up on it and said, oh, AI, something new. It's not really new at all. It's been used for years. If you use an Alexa, an Echo Dot, that's AI. If you use a smartphone, an iPhone, and Siri is in there, Siri is AI. We've been using it for a long time. We just haven't called it that. But the big deal came out about a year, 2 years ago now, when ChatGPT came out, and they said, "Oh, here's AI, and here's some things that it can do with it." Made the newsletters and the headlines and the news and all that sort of thing, but it's not really new at all. Now, what AI is is the programs take data, take text that's already online somewhere, and they analyze all these different text words. We're only talking about text here. We're not talking about images, but the same sort of thing holds for images or videos and so on. And it looks for, if you type in search terms and say, I want to see where are the death records for Louisiana stored, it will say, okay, Louisiana, that's a state in the US, and death records. Okay, there's death and obituaries and billion graves and 2 or 3 other things. And it will look for words that are closely associated with those terms elsewhere on all this language stuff, all these text things that it has picked up on. And so sometimes they're referred to as large language models. And that large language models just comes from the fact that it's using text that's been stored somewhere on the internet. And so that it says, oh, these words might be associated with that. And then they've written a way that they can combine those words together and make a nice sentence out of it so that it makes sense and show you the result from what's there. And we'll see some examples of that here in a few minutes. If you already, I mentioned you have to set up accounts for this, and there are free accounts. Well, the accounts that for everything we're dealing with here are free. But you already probably have at least 2 of them. You probably have a Microsoft account, because if you're using Windows, you do. If you're using a Mac, you don't. But then you got a free Apple account, and they've got something in Apple, but I don't know what it's called because I don't use a Mac. And if you got a Gmail, you've got a Google account automatically. And so those are the ones that you can use to get in there. You'll find a lot of helpful articles about that, and I've listed one there, an article on Wikipedia that talks about it and gives you some of the history and gives you some of the other AI websites and other sorts of things. For some reason on the news, they never talk about websites. They just talk about AI programs, and but all they are is the simple way to use them is just with a browser and with a website. So anyway, that's some helpful information to get you going on it. Now down here under some free websites, here are the websites that we're going to be talking about today. Microsoft's is called Copilot. And there's a link that'll get you to it. If you just type into your browser, copilot.microsoft.com in any browser, like I'm using Chrome here, that will take you directly to it. And then you'll have to use once you put your password in, then you're in, and you've got a link to it. If you're using the Chat GPT, that's item 15 on there. That's OpenAI is the one that owns Chat GPT. And by the way, Chat GPT, I wondered what on earth did Chat GPT stand for? And I found it's listed someplace. It's over there. Generative pre-trained transformer. That's what GPT stands for. You didn't need to know that, but anyway, it's in there from it. I did have to set up an account on that because that one doesn't have an account with one of the others. Bard, which is from Google, that just uses my Google account. And you can get to that by at bard.google. What have I got on there? .com. It looks like I've got that wrong. I have that. I can't see it enough to know, but we'll get to that here in a couple of minutes. I've just set up. Let's see. Since we're looking at my Chrome, if you look up here, this is I don't know whether you can see my cursor up there. The first line above where these notes start, I've got several icons up there. Chat GPT is up there, and Copilot and Bard that I can just click on to get to them directly from there. This item 16, summarize.tech, is a website. It uses AI to take videos like lectures or something that's got a closed caption from a YouTube video. It'll only do YouTube videos. It won't do any other kind. And it's got to be closed captions. And it says long. I don't know what long means on there, but it's got to be longer than just a short video. But it will give you a summary by summarizing what the chat or what the closed captioning says. It'll give you about a one-page summary of what that whole video is about. And it's pretty accurate. It's fairly good on it. And again, it's free. Unless you do it, if you do too many of them, they probably say they're going to charge you for it. And there are many others. And once you get into any one of these, you can say, one of the questions you could ask is, give me a list of the top 10 free AI websites. But that and you can find other websites from doing that. Now, here's some cautions and suggestions. Maybe I'd ought to, before I talk about those, maybe I should actually do some demos here of these, though. I think maybe I will. I'm going to go back up here. I'm going to click on one of my notes up there. Here's Copilot. Okay, now, did I get Copilot or did I hit the wrong thing? I got to turn my browser or my magnifier because my eyesight is getting so poor I can't see it without enlarging things.
Don, you went to Google instead of closed.
I hit Google. Okay, there's Copilot over here. I'll click on Copilot instead of thanks. Yeah, so here it is. Here's Copilot. So, and it's got up here at the top, Copilot, and it's got Notebook, and I haven't even tried Notebook. I don't even know what that does on there. And it says your everyday AI companion and so on. Now this is magnified, so I can see it, but most of you don't need this. And by the way, it's easier for us with macular degeneration to see white on black than black on white. That's why I've got the colors reversed. That's one of the things you learn. I've learned all kinds of things about what to do with poor eyesight with macular degeneration. Now down here near the bottom, you see where it says ask me anything. You can type in something in here. I'll type in where are death records for Louisiana. Did I spell everything correctly? And I'll put a question mark at the end of it. Now, over at the right end of here, there's a little Oh no, that's not down here. It is down here. This is the submit. So you see, if you highlight that thing, it says submit. So hitting enter does not submit it. You have to click on this thing. So I click on submit. Okay, now it's thinking and it's responding, and see all the stuff that's coming down here. It's starting to look, and it's taking a minute, but it's coming up with stuff, and you only see a little bit of it at a time in here as it goes through, and it'll stop here in a minute, and you can stop it anytime you want to by clicking on the stop, and then you can add other stuff too. And what it will give us will be a list of locations where you can find death records, and the links will be in here. So I think is it done now? Yeah, I think it's done. Okay, now I click back up in here so I can scroll back. And now I'm scrolling my mouse wheel in here so that I'm back up to the top. Now, see, there's this says you, so that's me, what I asked. Here's the answer, what Copilot said. Now, I find it really helpful to do the following. I copy from here, I just highlight this thing by copying this, by going down to the bottom, and now it's all copied. Well, even all this other stuff, which I don't need, but I'll leave it there. Control C puts it on my clipboard. There's a Control C. And now I could put it into a text file. Now I use as a text file Evernote. And so I've got Evernote down here running someplace. Is this Evernote? Yeah, inbox. Oh no, that's not Evernote. That's my that's Chrome.
Just to the left of inbox, I think, Don.
Is it to the left of this one? Right here? This one?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Now so now this is my inbox in Evernote. And so I will click here, new, and then I'll click new note. Okay. Now it's coming up with here's a new note. It's untitled. So I'll go up here and I'll put a title on it before I save this thing. If I can get to the top where there's the title, I'll put, now this was from, this is Copilot. I've found it helpful to start with this for now. And then I'll put death records for Louisiana. And I'll put today's date, because this stuff will change with different dates. 2024 dash 02 dash, today's the 10th, 10. Okay, and now I'll click down, that's the title of it, of the note. Now I'll click down here, and if you could use anything you wanted, Word or anything else, but I'm using this thing. Okay, now Control V, and there it is. Now it's saved in here. This is what it found on there, and I find it really helpful on here to do it this way, because now I have to make it larger to see. Now I can actually read that. You see, there's at the top is what I wrote. Where are death records for Louisiana? Notice I didn't put a capitalization at the start of the where. It doesn't seem to make any difference, caps or not. And there is a question mark at the end, and I don't even know whether a question mark is needed in there. And so that's what I said. And then here's what Copilot said. It says, in Louisiana, you can access death records, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it gives you links on there. There's Louisiana Secretary of State. Here's the second one here is, what's the second one? Something about to obtain death records of Louisiana, do these steps. And that's probably to actually buy a copy of a certified one. Louisiana State Archives has them. And notice that the links are in here. It gives you the links as to where these are. And so all the stuff that you're looking for here, online public vital records index, and so on. And then down at the bottom, it always gives you this, remember that this is specific instruction, that it may not be accurate, so check it. They put that in every one of these things I've noticed because of the problems that arise that it may or may not be accurate. But they give you enough information so you can check to see. Now, what I find really helpful about this sort of thing is that it helps me remember things that I'd forgotten, or it gives me something that I didn't know about that I could decide, do I want to use this or not? And so with all the links in there, you can figure out exactly what you want to do with it. And then it gives some stuff down here about unidentified, untitled attachments. And I don't even know what those are. I haven't ever tried those to see what they are, but there's a bunch of those in here. And I should probably try those to see what they are. But there's there's Louisiana, something staterecords.org. So that's some kind of a, there are other websites, I guess. And there are attachments that came with this thing. And it goes down to the bottom and it shows, and then you can click if you want to show more suggestions. It will keep generating more stuff for you. Now, I find this really helpful, especially with stuff that I'd forgotten or that I was not aware of, that it will find stuff. And it does it by searching for what I put in. See, the words I typed in up here were, where are death records for Louisiana? So it searched in all the big language background and the files that it had for the word death and records and Louisiana. And it said, oh, that's a state in the United States. And there's a Secretary of State for Louisiana and all this other stuff that associated with it. So it says this might be what he needs. And so it comes back with this stuff. I find this really, really helpful for stuff that I didn't know about, or that just to organize the things. And there are a lot of things you can do. Anyway, that's just one simple example of using this. And now remember, I've copied this out, so it's still in on my, if I go back over to my browser, it's still on the browser. That was, I think it was this one. No, that's the class notes page. Oh gosh. I'll have to see if I can figure out how to get back to my browser. Let's see, Control Tab or Alt Tab. That's not the browser. That's not the browser. It's this one. Okay, so now I'm still in that. Now notice it's got some stuff here. There's a down arrow. I think that means copy the whole thing. When it says export, I've tried a couple of these things, but I'm not sure what all this stuff means because I'm still learning this myself about what it is. And then it's got something over here about 1 of 30, and I'm not sure what 2 of 30, or I don't know what the 30 means. I'm not familiar enough with this. I'm still playing around with it. And there's various other things you can do with it. Do you like it? Does it help, or does it not help? And so on. And this thing is something about a notebook. Oh, there's a copy. So that's got a copy thing that will do it. So export must be different than copy, but I don't know what it is. I've just been copying them on there. Now see, here's the Ask Me Anything. So I can come back and I can say, all right, this time I'm going to ask you, tell me about RootsTech. Now, if you haven't registered for RootsTech, I sure recommend you do. It's free. It's coming up at the end of this month, the 29th and the February and the 1st and 2nd of March. And the online version is free. If you attend in person in the Salt Palace in Salt Lake City, there's a cost. Let's see what we got. I've never tried some of this stuff, so we'll see what it says. So now tell me about RootsTech. It's going through and coming up with some stuff, and we'll see what it comes up with. It'll undoubtedly give me the rootstech.org as the link, and see what else comes up with it. And remember, we've only looked at Copilot. We haven't even looked at Bard nor ChatGPT. Yeah, of these, while this is coming up, let me tell you that for ChatGPT, I have not found very good results. Part of the problem is the free version of ChatGPT is 2 years out of date. It's dated January of 2022, and this is already February of 2024. So it's over 2 years out. That's version ChatGPT 3.5. That's the free version. The later versions, and I think they're up to 5 now, maybe 6, I don't know for sure. They cost money. They charge you for them. And I've forgotten how much it is, $5 a month or $10 a month or something. You undoubtedly get better results, but that may or may not be the case on it. Now look at all this stuff that it found. Now let me again. Now this time let's go back to that. There's you. That's what it says. Where are? Oh no, that's what I see. That first thing is still on there. So this is it's got all the first stuff. Now here's the Copilot, RootsTech. Now someplace in here, there's me and what RootsTech is. Now let's see if I can. How do I get? Let's see. Well, I don't. I think you have to update the whole thing. So I'm just gonna do the copy. Tell me about RootsTech, and see if I can highlight everything, and then let me get down here to the bottom, and then I'll copy this in. I think this is the end of it. I'll hold down my shift key and click, and that didn't do it. Didn't put the. Okay, where is that export thing? Where do we see those things? Was that at the top? There it is. This was copy. If I can see which one it is right there, copy. Okay, now hopefully that's on the clipboard. We'll see. And now I got to go back and see if I can find my Evernote file. Where's Evernote? It's got
one more to the left.
That one right there, inbox. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now let me start with another note, because I think that's going to put more in there. So I'll click new and note, and this time I won't even put a title on it. Watch what this is what Evernote. Now Control V. There, it's in here. But now what did I get? Did I get the first part over again or not? No, I didn't. I just got the second part. Okay, so now it usually puts the title in here. I'll put this is still. Oh yeah, I did. It put the title in there of the first line. So I need to. That's why I find putting the title in there first helps. This was Copilot, and this was tell me about RootsTech. And today's date was 22-024-10. By the way, that's international date format. If you use international date format, it's not genealogy format at all. But if you use it, it alphabetizes things chronologically. But you have to put in 4 numbers for the year, and then 2 numbers for the month and 2 for the date. And if you only put in 1 number for the month, it doesn't work. They don't alphabetize correctly. If you write it in April instead of in January and so on, then April alphabetizes before January. But with international date format, some countries actually use dates this way. We don't in the United States, but I started using this many years ago, and because if you have a bunch of letters, for example, that you're transcribing letters, if you put this date at the start of them, all those letters will alphabetize chronologically without you having to put them chronologically yourself. So I started using it for all this sort of thing a long time ago, and find it really helpful. All right, now here's what this came up with. RootsTech is a remarkable family history and technology conference, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What do we got here? Event overview. Roots Tech is, and so well, anyway, you see what it came up with just my asking it. Tell me about Roots Tech. This is the first time I've tried this, so I've never done this before. I'm just experimenting with different things here to show you what goes on and what you can do with it. The in-person event in Salt Lake City. There's the dates and the location, the Salt Palace, etc. It probably gives the price in here. 3-day pass. Yeah, there's 1-day pass. Yeah, there's the prices. And then online event and so on. Anyway, it's remarkable what this comes up with. There's the keynote speakers. They just announced Jimmer Fredette as a keynote speaker. Did you see that last week? He's a famous basketball player from BYU. He's on the U.S. Olympic team, and he's here in Provo right now. And they announced that he's one of the keynote speakers up here too. Anyway, that's what you can find. That's what it came up with, and it says, "Do you want more information on that?" And it gives you the details as to where to go and what to do. It's so much more than just a Google search. If you search for Roots Tech, Google would come up with the URL and other things about Roots Tech where that word occurred, but it wouldn't give you near this sort of a thing from of the details of it, etc. So anyway, so you get some ideas on it. Now that's using. Let me get back over to the browser, if I can see where. Let's see. That's not it. That's not it. I think this was it. Okay. All right. Now, yeah. Now I'm back in my browser. Now, so we just looked at Copilot. Copilot was that's the Google or the Microsoft version. The Google version is called Bard. So there's Bard. I just put that up here. Let me click on Bard and go to Bard.
Don, while you're looking at that, Michelle online suggested that Bard is now called Gemini.
Not quite. Bard is the free version, and it's still an experiment. Gemini is the pay version, and you have to pay for it to subscribe to it. They've announced the difference. Gemini, I started to try to get into that recently, and you have to pay for it. Even I thought there'd be a free version, but I couldn't even find a free version of Gemini. But Bard is free, but it's still an experimental form. But you can get to it by using any browser. Well, I shouldn't say that because I haven't tried it. I've only tried it with Chrome to get to it. But I thought Gemini was the one before, but it turns out that that's not the free one.
Thank you.
Okay, so now here's hello, here's Bard, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Let me see if I can. Oh, okay. It says enter a prompt here. Let's try that same thing that we did before. Let's see. What did we say on that Louisiana? What did I? Where can I find?
With the death records, was it?
Yeah, but what was it? Where can I find or where? Well, about that. Where can I find death records for Louisiana? And I will put a question mark at the end. If I can find the question mark in here, where's the question mark? There it is. Okay, and now this has got some kind of a thing. There's the submit thing that just says the little right arrow thing. I don't know what these other things do. Oh, one is you can speak it. See that's got a microphone. You can speak it, and I don't know what this other one is. Maybe it's for pictures because it's got a little picture in it. Okay, click. All right, now let's see what happens. Here's the click. Okay, I think it's generating. Is it? Oh yeah, it's just hidden behind here. Where you can find death records. Oh, maybe it's all there now. I'm just scrolling down now, but it's hidden behind the thing, so you don't see it unless you scroll into it. Now, is one of these a copy? let's see, is this one, what does that say? Modify. And this one says probably share. That's that share thing. I don't know. I don't know whether one of these is a copy or not.
You may get it under 3 dots on the right.
Over here. Oh, yeah, yeah. Let's just try that and see what it says. What does that say? Copyright. No, that's not. Well, I'm gonna try Control A. Click in there and try Control A. I think it's copy. Control A. Now a Control C. Okay, and now I go back and see if I can find my Evernote file. That's this inbox.
To the left.
Is that it?
To the left.
No. Oh, yeah. To the left of this is yeah. I can't see the
go to the right. And 2 more.
Is this there? It is
there.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now I'll start a new note for this one. New, so that we don't to confuse them. I'll show you some notes that I've saved on this before from all these different things. We'll probably do that in the second hour of this thing. So now this time I will type the title. Now this is BARD, so BARD, and this is where our Louisiana death records, and 2024 dash 02 dash 10. Okay, and now I'll copy. I'll click down here and Control V, and let's see what we got. Okay, all right, now. Okay, now this is up the top of the note. Now notice it says Gemini in there too. And then BARD, and then something, new releases, Gemini is updated. Yeah. So maybe they're done with the BARD as the experiment, though it still said experimental. And I won't click on that see update thing. Conversation with Gemini. So maybe it is changed now to the name of Gemini. But this was free because I haven't paid anything for it. And then where can I find death records? There's a bunch of dots in here, and I don't know. I've noticed that I get these dots, and I don't know what they stand for. And then here's where it starts. Volume up. I guess that's got something to do with the if you do it by voice. For death records, 50 years ago, do this, that, and the other. Online public vital records, Louisiana State Archives. We got that before. For deaths, do this, that, and the other for years. Louisiana Department of Health. Now, does this have the links in it? I don't see. Oh, there's a link. There's a link there. Yeah. So important notes. Death records are considered well. There's some information in here that wasn't in the other one, and maybe there's some information in the other one that wasn't in this one. So try more than one of your activities when you're typing it in. Gemini may display inaccurate info, including about people, et cetera, et cetera. They always put this warning in there because it's not always the same. And so you need to be careful of it to see what's going on. Well, anyway, that gives you 2 examples. Now, we haven't looked at OpenAI and chat. I think maybe we'll save that till, how's our time? What have we got? Another few minutes before?
About, yeah, 3 minutes.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, let me just go back and back to the notes or back to the PowerPoint and summarize what we've looked at, and then we can spend the next the class time going through additional things. Okay, so here's the now let's see, getting started with texts. Am I in the right place? Yeah, or maybe this wasn't the right place because that's the PowerPoint, but it's not the PowerPoint that was actually working. Where's the tab? Tab. There we go. Whoops. Oh gosh. Is this one? Okay. We looked at the class notes. Now we've looked at these demos. Turn off the magnifier so it doesn't bother you. I have to. Whoops. I keep hitting the wrong thing. Alt tab. That's what happens when you can't see what's going on. I can't get this back to the right place. Okay, now that should be that's not demos. I don't know what's happening. Well, was it the demos or the
PowerPoint?
Yeah, is this the PowerPoint?
No.
Well, isn't that it?
That is.
That one right there, right?
Yes.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now I'll turn off the let's see. It's a Windows escape. We'll turn that off. Okay. Now these are the things we've looked at. We looked at not all of these, but most of them. Microsoft's Copilot, Google's Bard, or Gemini, whatever it's called now. And it may be called, it may be changed. Bard still works and it still is called that. OpenAI's ChatGPT we didn't look at. We haven't looked at an example of that, nor Summarize Text, but we can do that later on. And there's things that you can ask AI to do, different things that we have actually done. So here's what summary. We looked at what AI is, and then the free AI websites, and then we looked at some examples and demos of them. Now, we'll have, since we're about out of time now, we'll have the questions and the comments in the second part of this. So we'll take a break for about 10 minutes or so, and then we'll start a Q&A and more demos of this. And we can type in some stuff that you folks might want to try out and see what works on it. So for now, I appreciate you watching. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today. And if you're on Zoom, just stay on Zoom. But if you're on Facebook, you'll have to log off and then log back on in about another 10 or so minutes. Okay, Gerhard, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Don. It'll just take 5 minutes to get the next Facebook
slide started. Me a little longer than that to get things taken care of. Yeah.
All right. By the way, I noticed that we'll need to spend some time on your cautions that you didn't take the time.
We didn't. Yeah, there are some.
Here, we'll do that during the next hour. Good. Thank you for opening our eyes and preparing us for some of the frustrations we'll have.
Yeah, right. There'll be a lot of them.
Yeah.
Thanks.
We'll try some more of that. Okay. So we'll see the rest of you in a few minutes.
Okay, good. Thanks.